Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Me again, Shannon Fox here, the Road to Patriots 2 channel. Got several things I wanted to bring to y'all today. Not all of it is good, happy news, like usual. Last several months, we've had nothing but good news. Just a few bad days with the injunctions and things. But for the most part, it seems like we are getting our country back. Trump is doing good things. Hopefully, the Justice Department is doing things behind the scenes that we just don't know about yet, involving prosecutions of all these criminals. That's one of the things that we're all waiting for, licking our chops on, no doubt about it. But we are definitely in a battle that has been going on for many years, but it is really a frontline battle face-to-face with the crazy Democrats versus the crooked Republicans and rhinos that just want to have things go business as usual. And so we have a lot of problems here in America involving people that don't have the testicular fortitude to stand up for themselves in this country and this America First policy that Trump and his immediate cabinet wants. But in the meantime, we are going to deal with some news, and we're going to win some and we're going to lose some, and some things we're going to scratch our heads about until we get the truth about, including what's going on in Russia today. And we'll get into that as well here in a few minutes. And I've got General Flynn and Steve Bannon and Jack Sobek all weighing in on what's going on over there. I decided it needed to be said. So stick around for that, folks. Try not to make this too terribly long, but it's been an eventful week. Let's go ahead and get a little bit caught up. All right, here we've got a Breaking Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer has sent criminal referrals. James Comer has sent criminal referrals to the DOJ on Hunter Biden for perjury. We're certainly going to continue to investigate, but we're also seeking accountability from the DOJ. So they're going to press charges. They're going to send criminal referrals in hopes to have an investigation picked up for prosecution of Hunter Biden for several things, including perjury. Sounds great, folks. That's a start. Let's get her done. Let's see if the left defends Hunter Biden this day and time. I doubt it.
Is it not a felony to lie in front of Congress?
Absolutely. And we issued criminal referrals. Hunter Biden committed perjury. Jim Biden lied in front of Congress. And there are others in other investigations who have lied, and there's been no accountability. So we're certainly going to continue to investigate, but we're desperately seeking accountability from the Department of Justice, and hopefully that'll happen, because when you talk about using the auto pen to sign these executive orders were many meant to Trump-proof this White House. And if we can find information that would lead us to believe that Joe Biden had no knowledge of those executive orders being signed in his name, then I think that the Trump administration could get them thrown out in court, and then Trump would be able to execute his agenda a whole lot easier without all the Trump-proofing that happened with the auto pen at the end of the Biden administration.
Well, I mean, it's just extraordinary to me. Look at how all of these policies
Wow. Love to see it. It may just be talk, but we are at least headed in that direction with the conversation. And hopefully Pam Bondi will actually do some criminal prosecution, because this is an easy case. This is easy to get thrown into the courts due to the scandal that's been involved. Not one scandal, but 100 scandals involving the auto pen. Every executive order, every 8,000 pardons needs to be scrutinized at this point, because we're going to be able to prove pretty easy that Biden was not in control of the auto pen or in control of his own faculties, for that matter. Probably wasn't in control of his own diaper changing at this point, or at that point. They said for about 6 years he was lost. Even the Secret Service guy come out the other day and said that Biden had a hard time, kept getting lost in his closet. Must be a pretty big walk-in closet, but he said Biden would get lost in the closet. That is sad. I wonder if they put him in the closet. That was my first thought. But at any rate, it sounds good. We're all waiting. And I'm with you folks with the impatience about this. But the wheels of justice move slowly, and that is just the facts, folks. Hopefully we won't get the old okey doke on everything like we have been getting on the Epstein thing. But in the end, I hope we get some people going to jail. I don't even need to know all the scenarios of everything. I just need to see people like Adam Schiff go to jail for one crime or another. Now let's go ahead and get into something that has been popping on X today on the news. Benny Johnson was on the Gateway Pundit, and Benny Johnson's one of the many people I watch at times. And he had a great guest, Mr. Lewandowski, on his show. And it's just crazy stuff what this guy is saying, and it's a little bit terrifying. Now, I'm going to tell you who Mr. Lewandowski is before we go any further. He's was on Benny Johnson Day as a guest. I've actually seen him on, I think it was Sean Ryan's show, somebody else's show at one other point. But it says Corey Lewandowski's background and career. Leo AI says Corey Lewandowski is a political operative, lobbyist, and a commentator. He was also born on September of 1973 in Massachusetts. Lewandowski graduated from University of Massachusetts with a BA in politics, political science, and later received a master's degree in political science from American University. Lewandowski's career in politics began in the 1990s, working for several campaigns, including 1994 Massachusetts State House campaign and 2022 re-election campaign for U.S. Senator Robert Smith of New Hampshire. He also worked as an aide for Republican in Congress Peter Tarkington and interviewed for Massachusetts State Senator Stephen C. Pagan. I don't even know how to say these guys' names. Panagiotis. In 2016, Lewandowski became a campaign manager for Donald Trump's presidential campaign, a position he held until 2016. Until June 2016, he was later hired by CNN as a political commentator and worked for the cable news network until 2016. Basically, he is another talking head, but he seems to know quite a bit about Washington. He was in the Trump campaign for a little while, and I'm only going to take what he says at face value without the facts, and so that's one of the reasons I wanted to go ahead and bring you his credentials. I don't know if he's on the left or the right at this point, to be honest with you folks, but what he's saying sounds like the truth. But I'm still a little skeptical because I don't have any corroborating proof, so remember that before we listen to this. Just trying to give it an honest shot, but I thought this was an interesting interview. A few things he said just kind of mind-blowing. It says, Corey Lewandowski says the Biden administration destroyed and hid all records related to the assassination attempts on Trump. The previous administration didn't want to share that information. How do we have the most premier law enforcement agency? We haven't seen a single report. That's just a fact. They also destroyed all kinds of evidence. That's just the beginning of the evidence destruction. But let's go ahead and watch this interview. I thought this was just crazy stuff.
Count at least 5 Afghan. You brought up that they kept terrorists off the watch list. You've been working very closely with DHS, which oversees Secret Service. We learned in the Ryan Ralph filings.
Did you catch
that he was?
Y'all catch that right off the bat? So they kept people off the terrorist watch list. I'm sure for political optics, for some relations with some of those countries or some of those people. Maybe they had good ties with the terrorists in some situations.
Trying to smuggle in Afghani terrorists to kill Trump. He has a bunch of messages saying, hey, let's work with the cartels to smuggle a bunch of terrorists here and Stinger missiles and shoot Trump out of the sky. It's in the DOJ's filings. I'm sure you've seen this. You probably know so much more than we do about these multiple Trump assassinations. We can count at least 5 that I think would be considered like an assassin attempt on our president. Are we going to get full disclosures about Matthew Thomas Crooks, who he was working with, his emails, his text messages, his computers, his habits, photos of his room? Are we going to get like full disclosures on this stuff so we can finally unpack like how the hell we almost went into civil war and we ended Western civilization with an on-air execution of our president?
Benny, I think it's very clear that there's been a lot of shenanigans that have transpired, not just in the last 4 years, but in the last 4 decades, that the government has covered things up because they didn't think the American people had the right to know. And what I believe is that providing the information to the American people is the best solution. And by the way, let's hold people accountable. What we heard at the Butler rally was that the Secret Service couldn't communicate with the local PD, who couldn't communicate with the county PD. And we're going to put in some new standard operating procedures to fix that. We had a president of the United States, the leading candidate for president, shot in the head by what they told us was a lone gunman whose body disappeared in 15 seconds, Benny. Okay? The body was gone in 15 seconds. They had power wash the roof. Jesus, you can't get anything done that quickly. And all of a sudden it's done, and there's nothing here to follow up on, and we'll write a report to Congress. Let me tell you something. I know that President Trump, Kash Patel, Secretary Noem, and everybody else in the IC community wants to get the answers. And I'll tell you, Tulsi Gabbard has done a great job on this of pushing people to release information, because the American people have the right to know, to make sure it never transpires again. So I believe in full transparency, and I hope that every agency that's been involved in any of these cover-ups is held accountable to the fullest extent of the law, because we saw Lisa Page and Schrock, right, the two lovers at the FBI, trying to single-handedly take down Donald Trump, and only because of the work of Kash Patel and Devin Nunes in the House and others were we able to uncover that. And the FBI is a better place because Kash Patel is there.
Yeah, I mean, we have this photo of Matthew Thomas Crooks on his phone right before he shot Trump. It's like, we've never seen this phone. Do you have any idea what this phone is? Do you have any idea what all this evidence is? Who has it? Is it Tulsi?
Look, I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure someone in the IC community has this. Yeah. But Benny, it raises a serious issue. Okay, how is it that we have the premier law enforcement organization in the world protecting the most important people of the world, and we still haven't seen a full report on what transpired at Butler 1 or at the golf course, in Florida? So yes.
That is actually an excellent point. We need, because these cases are over and closed and there was no other suspects, prove that to us. Give us the evidence. There's both of these people have been dealt with. I don't know why you can't present the evidence, especially the one on Thomas Crooks, because he's dead. And we need to know who was working with him, if someone was working with him. Was this government involved, or was this a lone shooter? I don't know. It seems too crazy to be a lone shooter deal with all the information we've had so far. But I'm still waiting on some kind of disclosure from our government. And on that note, they're just too busy, don't care, or they've failed. I don't know what it is. But they're definitely not answering the right questions since the new guys have got in there over the last couple of months. As busy as they are, they can come out and make statements about Epstein, but they can't tell us what happened to Trump, why, who, and how it was able to the Secret Service to allow their guard down so much that Trump was almost shot twice. That's what I got for you folks on that one. Yeah, I think this is crazy stuff, and I think this guy's probably accurate. The Biden administration was hiding everything they could that involved anybody going to jail that was against Trump. They'd have loved to see this guy get away. They'd have loved to see the other guy, Robin Ruth, or whatever his name is, Mr. Ruth, get away as well. But didn't work out that way. God's got his hands in this, and hopefully all the darkness will come to light. We'll have to see, folks.
Look, they're saying that there's nothing to see here, and that may be the case, but full transparency to the government, from the government, I think is absolutely accountable, and it puts people at ease to make sure that they know, the American people know, that our president is safe on all occasions.
Yes.
Wow. So you're saying that they were trying to just sweep it under the rug and say, oh, we cleaned it all up before you guys got into the office.
Well, it seemed to be that the previous administration didn't want to share any of that information, as you know, and so they had no interest in actually telling us what was transpiring at that Butler 1 rally.
Wow.
That's rough, folks. See, that's disturbing. And while I'm thinking about this, I'm also thinking about what's going on in Russia, how Trump the other day did not know that. I'm also worried about Trump not being informed by his military intel agency heads. The other day, somebody asked Trump, and a reporter asked Trump about why Putin was attacking Ukraine, and Trump made his crazy statement like, I don't know what's wrong with Putin. Well, I'm trying to make peace. And then somebody brought it to his attention that, well, Putin had an assassination attempt against him with several drones from probably Zelensky or NATO or both. And Putin was able to survive basically an assassination attempt. That's what we're told anyway. And Trump was clueless on the deal. How come the reporters know more about what's going on in the world than our own president? That was the first time I've seen it. They did this to him in his last administration as well. I was hoping he wouldn't have to deal with this in this term as well, but obviously he is. And now he's being probably left out of the loop on his own assassination attempts, people that were involved in it. He's being left out of the loop on a lot of things because of the deep state that's still involved in covering up for themselves and the former administration. But what has happened in Russia with the drone attacks and everything brings it to the forefront that this could happen here really easily, and especially when we're not all on the same team, because a part of our government is a shadow government that hates Trump because he wants to cut their funding and arrest the people that have conspired against him. I mean, that just seems like common sense thing to do at this point, but definitely shocking information, a little disturbing more than anything. And just like Trump wasn't informed about this drone attack that happened with Zelensky, but Lindsey Graham went over there with Mr. Blumenthal, a Democrat, I believe he is, a senator Democrat, and Lindsey Graham went over to Ukraine just a few days ago, if you didn't know, and then they come back home, and while the peace talks are happening between Ukraine and Russia, I think in Italy, somewhere, a separate place, I think it was Italy, Ukraine is bombing 35 miles inland of Russia with a diesel full of drones and destroying a huge 30%, they believe, of Russia's aerial fleet when it comes to their bombers and things. And so this war has just been escalated. I'm sure it was by NATO as much as Zelensky, if not more. They say this attack has been going on for 18 months. I want to know why Trump wasn't informed that this attack was happening. Did Zelensky know it was happening and Lindsey Graham know it was happening? Did Blumenthal? How much of the Congress knew this was happening? How much of the military-industrial complex knew this was going to happen? But Trump was never let in the loop. Now we got to figure out who is starting a war from our country, who is trying to start a war from our country under Trump's nose. And the obvious answer is at least the two people that went over there with the exact timing to pat Zelensky on the back about the time that he throws basically the Pearl Harbor of Russia's. This is Pearl Harbor for Russia. They've been attacked, blew up a good portion of their military planes with drones inland on the country. This is all-out war. I would not be surprised if this doesn't go in a worse direction. I think peace talks are off the table now, and it's no fault of Trump's. It's these two guys are obviously idiots. I'm not talking about Zelensky and Putin. I'm talking about Blumenthal and Lindsey Graham. It's sad. It's actually all four of them are idiots as far as I'm concerned. But I really hate to see us go down this road. The U.S. intel agencies, if they were a part of this attack on Russia, if they knew about it and didn't tell Trump, we got some real problems in our country that Trump's going to have to handle up on with some tribunals or something. Trump can't have his military leaders starting war with NATO against Russia in behest of Ukraine. That's not cool when they're not the commander-in-chief. He is. All right, we need to bring Lindsey Graham back to town, hold his ass accountable for treason, him and the other clown, just my opinion. Let's get it done.
Sides, Ukraine and Russia have rejected this.
Hang on, if we didn't know it, okay, I got that. Okay, good, I like that. Then the White House has to condemn this immediately and pull all support and tell Lindsey Graham, come home. Or we're going to put you under arrest when you come home. You're stirring it up. Lindsey Graham's over there saying, hey, Forget Trump. I got the House and the Senate. We're gonna pass him. You're gonna see something in a couple of days. Remember that? He's stirring it up over there. He's telling me they got backing. If they did not give us a heads up on this, all full stop, no minerals deal, walk away from all of it. They're irresponsible. They're dragging us into a kinetic third world war. As we said, we're getting dragged in now. Yep. Or the deep state is driving us in there. Either of these are not good. Tulsi Gabbard's got to let us know. Did anyone in Intel at all have anything to do with this? Did anybody have a heads up? Did anybody? And if not, who the hell's running the Ukraine desk? Who's running the Russia desk?
And Russia have rejected this.
Hang on.
That's actually a great question. Let's ask Tulsi Gabbard how many of our intel agency officers actually knew, and if none of us were in the loop, what gives Lindsey Graham the right to go that way, to go over there and stroke the fuel of war? It's pretty sad, folks. It's really, maybe Lindsey Graham needs to be held accountable at this point. I hope Trump lights a fire under his ass, one way or another. We need Lindsey Graham's vote, but we don't need him helping kill the peace deal. That proves what a warmonger he is. He hates Russia. I've seen videos of Lindsey Graham being a warmonger for 20-plus years. Lindsey Graham has been a warmonger when he was young, if that tells you anything. But General Flynn has got a couple of great points here. He was on the Alex Jones show, and he's right. We need to launch criminal investigations into everybody involved in this proxy war that are doing it against Trump's behest. Here we go, folks. This is a little long. We'll play a part of it.
If Trump did not know that this was happening, for the billions and billions and billions of taxpayer dollars that we give to the United States intelligence community, particularly the CIA, and the billions of dollars that we've been given to tens of
apologize, it's spooling.
Billions we've been given to Ukraine, for us to not know that this.
Hold on, folks. I'm going to try to stop this thing from spooling.
This was ongoing, that this planning was ongoing, that this attack was going to occur against nuclear capable bombers. Okay? These aren't just community, particularly the CIA.
Try this again.
And the billions of dollars that we've been given to tens of billions we've been given to Ukraine, for us to not know that this was ongoing, that this planning was ongoing, that this attack was going to occur against nuclear capable bombers. Okay? These aren't just some aircraft that are parked that are going to conduct close air support against, frontier targets in the eastern part of the Donbasses of Ukraine. These are nuclear capable bombers. So for us to not know that, for us, our intelligence to not know that, so I don't believe for a second that our intelligence didn't know, not for a second. I do believe that our intelligence community and system and people in it didn't brief Donald Trump, which is really really dangerous. And it tells you, if the president of the United States is now saying, I don't know, I did not know about this, and he clearly didn't know about the assassination attempt that occurred last week. He said it during a one of these hasty press conferences that came about during when he departed, I think, Marine One. I mean, he said, I'm not aware. I mean, these are huge issues. If I was Trump, if I was sitting in that situation room right now with the director of the CIA, the director of national intelligence, the secretary of defense, and maybe the director of national security agency, some of the other key people, secretary of state, I would want to know, because I would find out. I would tell the FBI, I want an investigation going on right now as to who knew what and when did they know it about this particular attack. And I would tell Pan Bondi, I want a special counsel right now to determine exactly what occurred here. Why wasn't I brought up to speed on these kinds of issues.
I apologize. This thing is spooling and jumping around. I must have slow internet signal or something. Who really knows? Maybe interference, a car driving by. But what General Flynn has basically said is we need accountability. Trump needs to gather all his Pete Hegseths and Tulsi Gabbards, all his defense leaders, leaders of Secretary of State, all these people that are in the loop about our international affairs, about our military presence, about ongoing world affairs that involve military strikes and things. You think we would know that stuff? You would think that Trump would have been informed that Putin had been had assassination attempts against him before a reporter knew about it. Something is definitely amiss here, and General Flynn is right. Trump needs to get them all in the same room, ask them all the same questions, find out why the hell he is not being told, and find out who is not obviously telling Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, DNI director. These people are obviously being left out of the loop as well at this point. So we need to get in there and flush out some more of these deep state criminals that are obviously not telling. And so we need an investigation. Like General Flynn said, we need an investigation into who is withholding information from their superiors to keep it out of Trump's hands. And that's the gist of this video, folks. That's what I got for you today, folks. It is a little bit disturbing, but I'm a little worried for Trump. His Secret Service sucks. His FBI has only got a few people in there that are decent, and some of them I'm starting to question. A few of them that are in there that I know of that are decent. Most of the people he hired in his executive branch, I believe, were solid 100% on his team. Great people to have in there. But I honestly think they should have put General Flynn in there as well. Maybe NSA or something to be able to help regulate this mess that's going on, because he knows who's behind the scenes doing the dirty, holding out information, keeping Trump and his executive branch out of the loop. It's just a sad situation. We went through this in the first term. Most people didn't realize it, but Trump was basically left out of the loop on a whole lot of things, I'm sure, as well as being lied to and investigated. And so the same bad actors are trying to do it again, obviously. And we got to root this stuff out, fire some people, prosecute some people, investigate everybody that had their hand in whatever the denial of whatever the hell is happening that Trump doesn't know what's going on in world news. He doesn't have time to watch the news anymore. He shouldn't have to watch the news. He should be getting briefings that several times a day that let him know what's the status of the world. And that's just the way it works for the presidency. That's what I believe. And obviously he's not getting the reports. Somebody's being lied or cut off of the information. We got to stop this. General Flynn's right. Steve Bannon's right. This is the fiasco, one of many, that we're dealing with in this ongoing fight to try to take our country back. The deep state is not going down. They are not going silently into the night. They are going to fight till the bitter end until they're all eradicated. And here's another example of some deep state actors that are obviously holding out that need to go as well. That's what I got for you today, folks. Just thought I'd do a little informative information today. Not necessarily pleasant news, but that's what the news cycle is. That's what the podcasting is, just reporting on what I think we need to be sharing out here amongst each other, just to keep ourselves aware of what's coming next. All right, folks, like, subscribe, and share, Devoted Patriots. I hope everybody had a wonderful month.